Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Meg, welcome, and if you're returning, then welcome back. So for any of you who watched my previous video, it was a story time about a toxic best friend that I used to have, and I split it into two parts because it was such a long video. So today's video is going to be part 2 of that story. So if you guys enjoyed the first part of the story time and you're desperate to hear what happens next, then please keep watching. So I will carry on from where I left off. So I was just about to tell you guys what Lucy wanted when she called me. Lucy basically said, you know, I believe you. And she was kind of the first friend that had said that. Everyone else was either on Beth's side or on the fence. They weren't deciding who they believed. They just didn't want to fall out with either of us. And I was like, okay, something must have happened to make you think this. And she said that when Beth was round the night before, Lucy had basically got a pair of denim shorts out to change into because I think they were planning on going somewhere. And she went out of the room, and when she came back in, her denim shorts were gone. And she was like, said to Beth and this other friend, where are my shorts? I just had them, where are they? So they all start looking for these shorts. They're looking in, Lucy said they were looking in every drawer, they were looking in the wardrobe, they were looking in like stupid places where Lucy knew they weren't going to be because she didn't put them there. She was like, I know I left them on the bed, like I know they were here. Guess where they were? Guess where they turned up? Under the pillow. It seems that under the pillow was Beth's favourite hiding place for when she'd stolen something from one of her friends. And when Lucy said it, I kind of started laughing. Like, it wasn't funny, but I was like, I can't believe she's done this again so soon after what happened with me and her. And she's used the same tactic. Like, what is going on with this girl? And I kind of just said to Lucy, like, I'm not gonna lie, I never accused Beth of this, but I did have clothes go missing, and I know it's her that took them, but I never brought that up. I just brought up the whole wages thing. So yeah, I kind of I have this phone call with Lucy. She tells me that these shorts that she had turned up under her pillow, why would they be under her pillow? God knows. But she said that that was when she kind of realised that I was telling the truth. And because this had happened, I then started to question my own forgiveness. I was like, I basically just said, I said to my mum, I was like, why have I forgiven her when she clearly hasn't changed? Just because she's not still doing it to me. She's gone and done it to one of our other friends literally a week later. What the fuck is wrong with her? I don't want to be friends with this person. And I didn't really know how to go about it, so I kind of just didn't speak to her. And then she messaged me saying good luck because I was going to get my nose pierced the next day because I'm not good with needles or anything. And so then I felt like I had to reply because she was being nice. So I said thanks, and then I sent her another message saying, I don't think I outed Lucy. Like, I don't think I told her that Lucy had rang me. Or maybe I did, I can't really remember. But basically I said, you know, I don't think you've changed. I think you still keep stealing from your friends. You can't help yourself. She would have known what I was referencing because she knows that she tried to steal some shorts off of Lucy the night before. And again, she just started being nasty. Like, she started getting so defensive and being horrible again. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to say to this, really. And I would love to tell you that that was the end of our friendship, but it wasn't. It was for quite a while, to be fair. For a couple of months, we weren't friends. And it was awkward because we had the same friendship group. So, you know, I still had to see her sometimes. Like, one of our friends, this was the year that we were all, like, starting to turn 18. So everyone was having, like, massive house parties for their 18th birthday. And there was a girl that we went to school with who was in our friendship group whose birthday was a couple of weeks after mine. And because we were both born in September, obviously most of our friends weren't 18 yet, so that's why we had house parties rather than going out clubbing. The girl whose birthday it was having a house party, and Beth was there. And to be honest, I didn't go there with any intention of even speaking to Beth, but after I'd had a couple of drinks, we started talking to each other. We started having a laugh with each other like we used to, and everything was kind of okay again. What annoyed me the most, I think, about the situation was the fact that Lucy was the one that rang me and told me about what had happened, but Lucy never actually, like, stopped being friends with her because of it. She just carried on like nothing had happened. But she was the one that, like, why would you ring me and voice your concerns to me if you're not planning on doing anything about it? I ended up being the only one that wasn't speaking to her, even though she'd done it to other people. So that was what annoyed me about the situation, was the fact that no one had my back. Like, no one. But to be honest, that isn't surprising of my friendship group because none of them ever had my back. Anyway, again, I kind of just decided to put it to bed, to be honest. I really missed her. Like, I hadn't really replaced her as such. I hadn't found anybody else that I'd been as close with as I was with her, and I did miss her. And as much as she had really done me wrong, and I don't think I ever trusted her again after that, I just wanted things to go back to normal. However, I was always very, like, I would always hide my money from her, and I wouldn't tell her, like, my secret storage space. And also, every time I was at her house, if I was ever there and she would, like, go out of the room, even just for like 5 minutes, I would be looking through her drawers trying to find the clothes that she'd stolen from me. So it was kind of a friendship destined to fail from that point that I decided to be friends with her again. But I didn't really see that at the time. I thought we would be able to get over it. To be fair, we did get over that, but it didn't make her any better of a friend to me. Shortly after this party where we made friends again, I passed my driving test, and she was the first person that I went to pick up after I passed my test, and I spent quite a lot of time with her, like, in my car in general. So I'll skip ahead to April, which was her 18th birthday now, and basically her mum had paid for a hotel for all of us to stay in. It was me, Beth, Katie, who I mentioned before, and another friend, and we were basically staying in this hotel in Bournemouth for, me and Beth were staying for 2 nights, the other 2 were just staying for the first night. We were going out clubbing on the first night, and then me and Beth were kind of just doing our own thing for the rest of the weekend. But basically, I was, I think, the only one that could drive at this point. I don't know, actually, I can't remember. Beth definitely couldn't drive, and Katie definitely couldn't drive. So I basically was picking Katie up to take her with me to Bournemouth, because it was about a half-an-hour drive from where we lived. I picked Katie up, and this hotel had a car park, so I just remember putting the hotel's address into my sat-nav. We got to the hotel, and it was one of those car parks that there wasn't very many spaces, considering it was quite a big hotel, so there wasn't any spaces. So then I started thinking, where could I park that I'm not going to have to pay for? So I was kind of just looking around Bournemouth at this point. Me and Katie were just trying to find somewhere to park that was nearby the hotel. Anyway, Beth rings me and she's like, "Where are you?" And she already sounds like she's annoyed with me at this point, and I have no idea why. And I'm like, "Oh, we're just trying to find somewhere to park." And she's like, "I told you, there's a car park." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, there's a car park, but there's cars in it. Like, there's no spaces. I can't park in there." I was like, "We're just trying to find somewhere, but I don't really want to have to pay to park." And she then just said, "Look, I had enough of your hissy fit that you're having. Just get here now." I just looked at Katie and I was like, what part of that was me having a hissy fit? Like, honestly, what did I just do to deserve that treatment? Honestly, I was half tempted to turn around and go home. I actually didn't want to spend any time with her after that, because she was just horrible to me for no reason at all, because I couldn't park at the hotel. Sorry that there was no car parking spaces. How selfish of me. So after that, I kind of just wanted to park, because I was like, fuck me, if I spend like 20 minutes trying to find somewhere to park, she's going to treat me like I've just killed her entire family. Yeah, I found somewhere to park, and it was one of those like bays where you could only be there for a certain amount of time. I was alright leaving it overnight, but it would mean that I would have had to get up really early the next day and move it, which obviously I didn't fancy doing because I was going to be hungover. But for the sake of Beth and her 18th birthday, I'll do anything. So I get up to this hotel room, and Beth's kind of sat there with this like grin on her face. She obviously knows she's just been a bitch for no reason. And I walk in, and it's awkward because her mum's there, and I don't want to like call her out on her bullshit in front of her mum, but I just thought, do you know what, I don't care. So I walked in and I just looked at her and I was like, "Are you going to apologise to me for the way you just spoke to me for no reason?" And she went, "Do you know what, it's my 18th birthday, I'm not apologising to anyone." I think I literally just looked at her and just walked off and started like unpacking my bag, and I never got an apology from her. And really, like, please tell me if you think I deserve that, because I don't understand what I did wrong there. Anyway, we had a good night for her 18th, and then the following day, me and her actually went out again, even though it was a Sunday. We did have a good weekend, to be fair, but then we were laying in bed, hungover, and I said to her, I might do lifts like the following weekend coming up. I used to do lifts quite a lot because I didn't go out very much, so it used to be quite a good way of earning money. And I was only telling her about it. I wasn't inviting her to do them with me. I actually didn't used to like people doing them with me because I used to like having the extra seat. I only had a Nissan Micra at this point, so I only had 3 seats, including the passenger seat. So if someone was doing it with me, I only had 2 seats to offer, which usually there was a lot more than 2 people going somewhere. But she basically invited herself to do them with me. She was like, oh yeah, I'll come with you. And obviously I didn't have a massive issue with it, but I didn't want her to come really. She comes out with this one-liner that I've never forgotten in the 10 years or however long it's been since. She just goes, if we make enough money, can we split it? Thanks. No, we can't split it because is it your petrol? Is it your car? Why would I split the money that I'm making on my lifts with you because you're coming with me? What on earth? But do you know what? Again, I actually ended up, after I said no, I kind of thought about it and I was like, maybe I'm being a bit selfish by not splitting the money with her. And we did do lifts and I did end up giving her some of the money. And I remember I told Katie about it. I was like, you know, I gave Beth half the money and she was like, whoa, what? Why did you give her money? I was like, well, she asked if we could split it if she came and did lifts with me and we made enough. And Katie was like, yeah, but if you're the one that's driving, you're the one that owns the car, it's your petrol, it's your, like, everything. Why would you split it with her? And I was like, do you know what, you're right. And I was so annoyed that I'd split the money with her then because we did make quite a lot and I would have had like maybe 80 quid to myself, but I didn't because I gave her half of it. Anyway, doing lifts kind of became something that I did most weekends, and there was this one particular weekend, it was bank holiday weekend in May, and I was going to do lifts all night, both nights, but basically what had happened is it was a Saturday night, I'd been at work all day, so I'd been up since like maybe 7 AM, and I'd said to Beth, you know, I'm doing lifts tonight. I did a couple without her, and then I did some that was in her area, so I went and got her because she wanted to come with me, obviously, but I did make it clear that I wasn't giving her half of the money this time. Anyway, we did lifts all night until at like 2 in the morning, and bearing in mind, like I said, I'd been up since 7. And the last guy that we gave a lift to, he was a guy that like I was kind of speaking to at the time, and he basically invited us back to his for a house party, which we were up for, to be fair. We'd been driving all night, or I had, not her, and I was up for it, but I did want to go home and get ready first. So we went back to mine because he only lived like 10 minutes down the road from me. So we went back to mine, we got ready and we left, and by this point it was like nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd been awake for almost 24 hours, but back then I was 18, I enjoyed the party life, so I was like, come at me, I don't mind. And I started to drive the short distance to this boy's house, and basically what happened, I got to a red light, it went green, but it was one of those red lights where if you want to turn right, you have to give way to the traffic coming straight ahead. And there was only one other car on the road other than me. I basically misjudged the situation. I went to turn right and the car went into the side of me. And I'm not making up excuses, like, it was my fault, I did cause it, but I was tired. I was a new driver as well, I'd only been driving for maybe 6 months at this point. I felt bad enough about it as it was, especially considering I had someone in the car with me and I could have hurt us both. Luckily, we were fine. Like, my car wasn't fine, but we were fine. I was just in massive shock. But obviously after that happened, we didn't really fancy going to the party, so we went straight home. I remember I ran into my mum's room and I was like, I've just had a car accident. And my mum just jumped out of bed. She was like, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine, we're not hurt, but my car's ruined. And that weekend, or the rest of that weekend, bearing in mind it was a bank holiday, I pretty much spent the whole weekend just in bed crying because I was so upset that I'd crashed my first car. And I'd ruined it, basically, and I knew it was my fault. No one needed to tell me that it was my fault, I knew it. And I was very open about the fact that it was my fault. I wasn't concentrating, I was tired, I shouldn't have been driving, I shouldn't have. But basically, what happened was my brother, not the brother that I've mentioned in the video previously, but my other brother, the younger one, he bought me a car, which I hate talking about because it makes me sound so spoiled, but I had full intentions of buying my own car, but I didn't have the money to do it at the time. I was still an apprentice at this point, so I still was on shite money. My brother had the money and he wanted to get me a car that would keep me safe, because to be honest, I'd scared my whole family to death with crashing my car. And so my brother actually got me a Nissan Duke, which I still have to this day, 7 years on. I've still got it. She's still my baby. But obviously I was massively grateful for that. Like, I didn't ask him to buy me that. He did that out of the kindness of his heart. I'm so grateful still to this day that I had a brother that would do that for me, because not many people can say that about their brother. Obviously, after that happened, I was just like, I'm gonna be so careful, and it put me off doing lifts. I never did lifts again, really. I did them like in the early evening, but I would always stop doing them at midnight because I was always just too scared to do it in the middle of the night. Anyway, I got my car, and there was just one evening where I was in and Beth was with another friend, and they were going out that night, and she had said to me, can you give us a lift? And I said, yeah, sure, as long as it's not too late, because you know I don't like doing lifts anymore. And she was like, yeah, no, it's fine, it'll be about 7 o'clock. And I said to her, okay, that's fine, but bear in mind I won't be picking you up, because it will mean that I'll be tired and I don't want to risk that again. And she understood that. Anyway, it gets to like 5 to 7 and I'm like, are you ready? And she says, oh, can you get us at 8 instead? We're just still pre-drinking, we're not really ready to go yet. I was like, yeah, that's fine, as long as it isn't any later than 8. Because I was having a night in, I wanted to be in bed by like 9 o'clock, which I wasn't going to be if I was only just picking her up at 8 and taking her somewhere and then driving back from that place. Like, I didn't want it to be any later than that, so I said, as long as it is 8, like, don't text me at 8 saying, can you get us at 9? The answer will be no. I text her at 5 to 8 saying, are you ready? And she still wasn't ready. She wanted an extra half an hour. She wanted it until 8:30. And she also wanted me to do a detour and take them somewhere first to get something or something. I can't even remember. But she wanted me to pick them up, take them somewhere, wait for them, and then take them out. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I've just told you I'm not getting you past 8 o'clock because I want to have a night in and chill. I don't want to be sat waiting to pick you up all night. I've never mentioned this, but a little, like, just side note. Every time I picked her up, I would always text her saying I'm on my way. It took 15 minutes to drive from my house to her house. She would never be ready. I would always be waiting for her for at least 10 minutes, and sometimes it was longer than that, because she just did not understand the concept of time. Like, if I told her I was leaving, I would make sure I was ready for when someone got there so that I could go straight out. Always waiting for her, all the time, every single time. So even when I said to her it better be 8 o'clock, I knew it wasn't going to be. But I did say, if you change your mind again, I'm not doing the lift. And because she then wanted me to pick her up at 8:30, she also wanted me to take her somewhere, wait for them. I wasn't going to get home till like 11 o'clock at this point, because I didn't know how long I was going to be waiting for them. All I know is I spent most of my life waiting for this girl in my car, so I wasn't up for it. I was like, no, do you know what? Find another lift. I'm not doing it. I did tell you that I wouldn't do it if you mess me around again. I don't know whether I was being a bit harsh there. Please let me know if you think I was, but I personally was just trying not to have the piss taken out of me. Especially considering I wasn't even invited on this night out that they were going on. Like, I probably wouldn't have gone anyway, but the invite would have been nice. So I basically just said, like, look, I did say to you, I want a night into myself. I said that if you change the time again, I wouldn't do it. And I'm not, like, you're not taking the piss out of me. I'm not taking you to this place, waiting for you and then taking you out. It's not happening. And she was so offended by it. She had a massive go at me, as she always did, and we fell out over it, which I didn't want to happen. I didn't want to fall out with her. I wasn't even being horrible. I was just saying, like, if you want someone to do that for you, then get someone who's willing to do, like, lifts all night for you, because I'm not. I wasn't even doing lifts this night. I was just going to do it for her, and she just kept messing me around, so I didn't want to do it. I kind of just didn't speak to her for the rest of the weekend, and then a couple of days later I was at work and I went on Twitter and she had tweeted about me saying something like, just a little disclaimer to everyone, girls who get cars bought for them are stuck up. And obviously I knew it was about me. And I was just like, where is the need for that? I don't see how I'm stuck up at all in this situation for not wanting to drive late at night, because I had a car accident when I last did that. Luckily we weren't injured, but I could have injured both of us, like her included in that. Why would I want to then go and do it again and risk it again? Especially as it was a Saturday night again. I'd been at work all day. I didn't want to be up late. It wasn't me being stuck up. Or was it? Do you guys think I was being stuck up? Because I don't think I was. It's got nothing to do with my brother buying me a car. I wouldn't have done that whether I'd bought the car. Like, it's nothing to do with that. I didn't say to her, by the way, I'm not picking you up because my brother bought me a car and I'm really stuck up about it. So I kind of replied to it, and I can't even remember what I said, but I said something sassy. I am a sassy person if you are a bitch to me, basically, so don't be a bitch to me. She then just got nasty, like she always did whenever we were in an argument. She basically replied with something like, you caused a car accident and now you're being treated for it. I refuse to grovel to you, piss off. I'm not gonna lie, I was upset enough about the fact that I'd ruined my car, caused an accident, nearly hurt me and my friend. I was upset enough about that. I knew I caused it. I did not ask anybody to buy me a car to make up for the fact that I'd crashed mine. I didn't. My brother offered. I'm not going to be like, no, don't buy me a car, because I needed a car. I'd gotten used to driving at this point. I couldn't go back to not driving. And obviously I would have bought a car myself. It just would have taken a bit longer. But, you know, no one can sit there and tell me that if someone in their family was offering to buy them a car, they'd say no. You wouldn't, especially when I was so low, like I was so upset about this. He came in and was like my knight in shining armour. He told me he was getting me a car and it just made my day. It really just made me feel so much better. I am quite lucky really that I have a really good relationship with my brother. Like still to this day, he would do anything for me. Like he's always got my back. And I love my brother. I hope that one day I can pay him back in some way. I was never like ungrateful about it. That was the thing. And I know people that have had their mum and dad buy them a car and they've just been completely like acted like it's normal. I was not that person. I was so grateful for it. And I was genuinely upset about what I'd done. So for her to then take that and use it against me just to be nasty, I was like, what? Like, why would you say that to me? Do you know what? I think I've blocked out so much of this point of my life that I can't really remember what happened. I know I didn't reply to the tweet because I wanted to be the bigger person and not reply. But I'm pretty sure, well, no, I'm completely sure that she came grovelling back to me in the end, because I wasn't going to. There was no way I was speaking to her after that comment. And to be honest, this is the point where it just gets a little bit predictable. There's nothing big really that happened after this. We went to a festival one year, I think it was Bournemouth Sevens, and her ex-boyfriend was there who had hurt her. He came up to us and like was talking to one of our friends, and one of our friends was having a go at him basically, and Beth was just ignoring him. She was acting like he wasn't there. I was like, are you alright? Because obviously I care about my friend's feelings. And she just went, F off! And I was like, why are you telling me to F off? Like, what? Why are you telling me to? Tell him. And she was like, you're making it so obvious, just shut up. Honestly, the amount of abuse that I got from that girl for no reason at all, I don't know why I stuck around for so long, but I did. The final straw for me, here we go. It was my 20th birthday coming up. At this point, I'd left the salon where I was doing my apprenticeship, and I had been at college for a year doing performing arts, and I'd made like lots of new friends. To be honest, my friends that I made at college were kind of the people that made me realise that I was in a shit friendship group, because they just treated me so well compared to how my friends from school treated me. So college friends, shout out to you guys. You guys are the best. I'll miss you all loads. And yeah, thank you for making me realise what a true friend is. So by this point, I had kind of already started distancing myself from my old friends, including Beth. Even though she was supposedly my best friend, I'd kind of met other people that I'd become just as close with. So although I was still friends with her, I wasn't really. She kind of only ever used to speak to me when she needed something. Like if she needed a lift somewhere or anything like that, that was the only time she ever really contacted me. There was one time where I picked her up to do a lift for her, and she told me that she'd got on a new job as a showgirl at Butlins, or it wasn't Butlins, it was like a holiday park near where she lived. And I was like, oh my god, like, because obviously I was the one that did performing arts out of the two of us. So I kind of thought like, well, I would love to do something like that. Can you ask if there's any places available for me? And she said she would, but she never did. I kept asking her about it, and she would either just ignore my text or change the subject. So clearly she had that. I mean, we all know already, we've listened to the whole story time, that she wasn't a nice person, but we also now know that she didn't want me to succeed. She didn't want me to do anything worthwhile, clearly, or she would have helped me. To be honest, all of my school friends took the piss out of the fact that I did performing arts anyway. Like, they all just didn't think I'd go anywhere with it. And yeah, as much as I'm cabin crew now, I have done acting jobs since, and I still very much plan to be an actress. So yeah, that was kind of another thing, I think, that, like, because I'd made friends at college and we all had the same interests, we all did performing arts, like, none of us took the piss out of each other, we all understood that we each had a dream. Anyway, back to my story about it being the final straw. It was my 20th birthday and I was celebrating it on the Friday night, because I think my actual birthday was on the Sunday, but on the Friday I was going out, like out, and on the Saturday I was just having like a big birthday meal with all of my college friends. On the Friday I was going out in Wimborne with my best friend Robin, who I'm still best friends with to this day, and I obviously invited all of my other friends, including Beth. Me and Robin used to have a good night, just us two, in Wimborne anyway. But Beth was the one person that obviously I wanted to come because she was still a good friend of mine. And I said to Beth, you know, we're meeting at this time. Like, she'd said she could come at this point. Like, she was coming. And I said, you know, we're meeting at this time, at this place, see you there, basically. She doesn't turn up. And I text her and I'm like, are you coming? No reply. So I just left it. I was like, I'm just going to get drunk and have a good night, which I did. The following day I went and got my nails done, and then I went out for the birthday meal in the evening with my college friends, who literally made it the cutest birthday meal ever. They all paid for my food, they wouldn't let me pay for anything myself. We actually knew one of our friends worked at, because it was at Frankie and Benny's, he worked there, so he gave me a free cocktail. They all bought me presents, like, honestly, it was so cute. I'd never had that treatment from friends before, so it was so nice. Yeah, the next day was my actual birthday. Did I get a text from Beth saying happy birthday? What do you reckon? No, nothing. Nothing, not a sorry I couldn't come out last night, not a hope you had a good birthday, not a happy birthday, nothing. Heard nothing from her. That was kind of the point where I was like, enough's enough. I don't want this girl in my life anymore. I've had enough. I've honestly had enough of this treatment. I don't deserve this. I've been nothing but a good friend to her. So that's kind of the moral of the story, guys, is if you can see toxic traits in someone, don't be scared to cut them off. Don't think that just because you've got a few years of good friendship and that you spend a lot of time together and you have such a good relationship that you should forgive them for some of the things they've done, because the truth of the matter is they'll never get any better. They'll just find new ways to hurt you. And do you know what? What made the whole thing even funnier? They all come crawling back in the end. Literally about 6 months later, I just get a text from her saying, hey Meg, what are you up to this weekend? Would love to meet up for a drink or something, let me know. She's just, first of all, she's just texted me, like, as if nothing's bloody happened, like, as if we've been speaking this whole time. And I just read it. I remember reading it, and I was at college when I read it, and I was like, why is she texting me now? And why is she acting like nothing's happened? And I remember I just replied to it, and I was a bit like, sorry, like, you didn't come out for my birthday 6 months ago. You didn't tell me you weren't coming. You didn't say happy birthday to me. Like, why do you think we're still friends? And she sort of responded being clueless, as always. She was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. I couldn't make it that night. You didn't mean to not come out for my birthday. You didn't mean to forget my birthday and not say happy birthday to me. Please, someone give me bloody strength right now. And at that point, I sort of just said, do you know what, love? See you later. You're not good enough for me anymore. If your friends aren't treating you correctly, don't be friends with them. Like, don't, honestly. I can't stress to you enough how much in a few years you won't even think about them anymore. They always say that as soon as someone comes along and treats you right, you realise how badly you've been treated, and that was what happened with me. I never heard from Beth again after that. Now, I'm so glad that that's not me anymore. Sometimes you won't even realise it, but some of the people that are bringing you down the most are the people closest to you. There we have it, guys. That is the end of my story time about my toxic best friend. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'm sorry that I had to do it in 2 parts, otherwise this video would have literally been over an hour long. I have a really dry throat. I need to go and get a drink. I've been talking for about an hour and a half, and if you liked the story time as well and you want me to do some more story times, then please do let me know, because boy do I have some more story times. If there is anyone that watched all the way from the beginning to the end, from the beginning of part 1 to the end of part 2, then well done. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening to my story. I hope that what I've said has been inspirational, and I hope it has kind of opened a few eyes in a way. Like, basically what I'm trying to say is I hope that I've kind of taught everyone a lesson in that, you know, don't forgive people that have quite clearly done you very wrong, it's never going to get any better. They're just going to get worse, and it's completely okay to cut someone out of your life. People grow apart at the end of the day. Sometimes you can grow apart from friends for no reason. You just get busy and you don't see each other much anymore, but there's nothing malicious behind it. I've had friends like that. But then sometimes you can really, you know, badly fall out with a friend because of something bad that's happened, and that's fine. It happens. What you've got to remember is don't go back to them, because they're not good for you. And at the end of the day, the most important person to you is you. So yeah, that concludes the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.